So we're out with Ling Mei and my beautiful wife Ying, and me, of course. So we are visiting the Royal Botanical Gardens today.
I won't go on too much about it. Basically, they grew out of the medieval physic gardens. And physic gardens were attached to monasteries or to wise women or wise people who collected herbs and were grown locally, but they knew that they had a knowledge of plants for health benefits, or all sorts of benefits, for bedding, for stuffing pillows, for stuffing mattresses, for cooking, for you name it. Everything comes from plants. And so by the 17th century, medicine had begun to become more formalized. And do you want to translate? So in Edinburgh, historically, there were two doctors. Edinburgh was a kind of centre for the development of medicine, formal medicine, as a university subject. And two doctors called Dr. Sybil and Dr. Balfour went travelling in Europe, and they realised that the formal understanding of plants for use as medicine was much more adapted in Europe than it was here. I came back to Scotland, and we thought, well, we must improve our knowledge of plants here for the benefit of people. And so we got a small, what was called a physic garden at Holyrood, and you can go and visit it. It's open to the public. It's just opposite the Scottish Parliament, beside the Palace. It's free. You can just wander in any old time.
Holyrood Palace, they have a physic garden.
Yes, and they've recreated what they think might have been the original physic garden. The sort of plants that they would have had in it. And so Dr. Balfour and Dr. Sybil came back, and they established botany as a very important part of the study of medicine.
How long ago are we talking about?
1670.
Okay.
Is that this is just like she just asked, is this a special stone or something special?
Well, this garden going up here is called the Garden, and it's very loosely, it represents all the different groups of plants as they have.
It's milky quartz, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a Renaissance man, if you know what I mean. And he basically put Edinburgh Botanical Garden very much on the map, and was a very, very important figure in the history of the garden. So that was about 100 years after it was founded. And this was built about 20 years ago to celebrate him. Yeah. And this garden was built for people to look out on and enjoy.
Yes.
And so if you go back to the actual start, if you think about evolution, millions of years ago, when the world was a kind of green pea soup, pea soup, and there were no plants or anything, and there was nothing on the land except stone. Slowly, plants such as mushrooms. There's some market on this, and then shiny little things called liverworts. Appeared on the stones, and they had adapted, absorbed chloroplast, and could then use the sun's energy to make food, carbohydrates for themselves, and also release oxygen. And that's photosynthesis, which is what all these plants are busy doing today. So that's how plants get to live, because they absorb energy from the sun. And they can have a chemical reaction in their cells which releases oxygen, which we all need instead of carbon dioxide, and say carbohydrates for allowing them to grow. It's not an original plant, a wild plant, but anyway. 山茶呀！这是山茶呀！ So you know that camellias, the original tea from China.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh, Santa.
Darling, no, we are not taking bushes of it home for tea.
Yes.
No.
Camellia, and that's it. When we look at the Chinese name, because a lot of it is Latin names.
Yeah.
So I found that it's very tricky to understand. Just even speaking the name for too long.
But this kind of flower is really popular in a lot of people's gardens.
Yes, very popular. So it's just, it's like almost like these trees that have been, or plants that have been around for such a long time. They have so adapted,
So how did they know this specific species can date back to that time?
from the fossil
Fossils.
record.
Oh, fashion record. Ah, 所以它这个知道
And then this is a very popular plant in people's gardens.
yes, very popular and then beautiful as well.
Camellia.
Camellias, yes.
Which they come from China.
OK， 这是传中文。That was the oldest tree in here, I remember before.
It was the tallest.
Tallest tree, yeah.
And it was planted before the sun.
Oh.
This is the Chinese hillside. I think what we'll do is come back up it at the end.
Yeah. So originally someone lived there, or?
Yes, this was Inverness House.
Okay.
And if you want to read quite a good novel called The Fair Botanist, which is situated around this about and a family called the Rocky. And there's genetic anomalies. Basically a genetic change in the cream genes that form these red leaves.
And they're red all season?
Yes. And so if you see one of these trees, you know that it's been grown from a clone. Because if it was just left in the leaf itself, most of the trees would grow up to be green.
Yeah.
It's not
Yep. That looks like, did you watch Game of Thrones?
The rain park over there was built from a tree. I think it was a witch elm that grew over in the garden. And so kind of artistic sort of carpenter made this wind harp. I've never heard it work.
It's supposed to sing when the wind goes through. Oh.
Could I ask, is this genetic change could suddenly happen in the plants quite often?
Yes, it does. It happens in human beings as well. You get someone who's it's a mutation.
Or evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah.
If it's advantageous, it will be maintained.
就说是在物里面，它的物的这种性别，就是这种变化，也就是很明。
Darling, so like basic. Chinese people are shorter because they're eating plant-based, so they survive. Here in Europe, we're hunter-gatherers, so we're taller, so I survive.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah.
Just explaining for the video.
你看这个东西颜色会不会有没有什么作用？
Reason why it's so busy is this is Easter Sunday, so lots of families out and about, and they're doing a white rabbit.
晚上就说了，都对。 In Canada, you got a beautiful mountains and it's not like here.
That's far away from us, though.
Several thousand miles.
Yeah, the mountains are over on the west side, and we kind of live in the middle.
Darling,
So
we're nearer to where they live than they are to the mountains.
yes,
Probably.
very far. But it is beautiful. You should go.
Yeah, I was planning.
Yeah. Oh, look at the hostas. They're really tall.
Oh yeah, over there.
Oh yeah, they're so far ahead. Yeah, look.
The wood sorrel's been very nice.
That this purple one is wood sorrel, and the white one. Oh, both of them.
Look around
你看
and see，
主要是咱们这名叫的名字不一样。
yeah, and actually this garden is famous. Well, rhododendron is one of its major features, which was started at the beginning of the 19th and 20th century. There was a man called George Forrest who was sent to China in the early part of the 20th century to Yunnan.
Oh, Yunnan. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's not where we're from. Right?
No, no,
Further
no.
south.
For the yes.
Yeah. And anyway, he went to Yunnan, which is sort of high mountains in Tibet, and well, it's not Tibet, but it's and basically he went 8 times to China. He finally died in China of a heart attack in 1930s sometime. He had an extremely exciting life. He was extremely good at making friends with the local people, and he would get local guides to help him identify plants. He also had, I think, a lot at that time, tribal wars and kind of groups and whatnot. So he had some very tricky experiences and just survived. And anyway, he was responsible for bringing that over 1,000 plants to the UK.
Wow.
Many of which came here, and a huge percentage of which are rhododendrons. So rhododendrons are a big feature of this garden, and also the other gardens in which the botanicals is. We also have 3 other gardens at Doik, Benmore in the west coast and the southwest bit at Logan. And in fact, the garden, if you really want to see rhododendrons, you need to go to the highlands on the west coast, because they like the wet weather there better than they like Edinburgh cold.
But rhododendrons are native here, right? They're not all from somewhere else.
Most of them are in China or Japan, but there are some native. There are some native rhododendrons all over the northern hemisphere, Canada, Europe, But often they're quite small. They're like little shrubby.
Yeah, ours are tiny.
Little heathery. In fact, rhododendron, which means rose tree. They're not trees or roses. They're actually more like heathers. So they're in the family Ericaceae, which is the heather family. So it's funny again, evolution in these different.
And what was that fella's name again? George Forster?
George Forrest.
Forrest.
Yeah. So he's a very significant figure in the history of the garden. In fact, you see here these chimneys. These little purple pom-poms.
Oh.
They're really common and popular in British gardens.
Yes.
They're wonderful to collect.
哦，这个也是来自云南的。哦，这也是啊。
They're not, the magnolias are maybe also thinking about the more globe-shaped, larger trees. Many of them are finished now.
Can I have a question? Is this like this?
Yes.
I always feel
I was
this
going to talk about it, but yes, it's on as these are rhododendrons, previously called azaleas. Actually, they're also now been reclassified as rhododendrons. And for some reason, probably to do with the pH of the bark or whatever, certain lichens just love them. So we have lots of lichen.
So this another species live along them.
And lichens are really, really interesting because they can't decide whether to classify them as plants or animals or what, because there's they're a kind of composite creature in that they've got algae in them and also fungi. So they're part fungi, part algae, or some are part fungi, part bacteria. And the algae basically photosynthesizes to create energy for the plant, and the fungi gives it other forms of nutrients.
Also, they can.
It's a kind of symbiotic, but they are an example of a kind of composite plant. And the other interesting thing about, you might think if you're a gardener and your bushes all get covered with lichen, you might think, what's wrong with them. But,
Yeah.
but in fact, they're a measure of good quality air.
Oh.
So in Victorian Edinburgh, when it was known as Old Leafy because of the smoky chimneys, polluting the atmosphere, there were no lichens in the garden, and now we have loads of lichens. So
it's a good quality of air.
so it's a very it's a kind of
它这个很有意思，它这是个共生。
它还有一个粉色啊。
It really is. And it's just amazing that it's so covered.
Good.
哎，你站会儿，我给你照一张。
Oh, yeah. You want us to take one of you in there together?
Oh, it's okay.
So just this is a lovely oak tree. It's a, it's a castigate oak tree.
It's glowing.
And it was planted in 1906. It's more than 100 years old. There's more than 200 little trees. You can see as you go past it. How thick the trunks of some of the trees are. They're planted as a hedge.
And so they would trim this hedge like, what, 10 times a year? Or?
It's done once a year.
Once a year.
Nowadays with cherry pickers. God knows what it's like in the past.
Beautiful.
So you can see the hedges. The hedge has quite thick trunks.
Hmm.
The buds.
什么都是野花。
Juice, Scottish native and a lot of them would have gone on. You had to study botany to take medicine until very recently, and a lot of them would have ended up as doctors on the ships going around the empire, and so he had them all very well trained and sent back any interesting to Edinburgh. He put this garden very much in the care. International match,
What a beautiful life. They have it's quite interesting as well.
Yes.
This is shell, made all the shell, I think.
Again, the shells were all collected by children. Again, this is a summer. It's a summer house.
Oh, nice.
A summer house.
Working class man.
That then.
Darling, it's almost as colourful as your hat.
I know.
That is, of course, a trademark of these videos, Ying's hats.
Water running down. And it's taken a real while to get this garden.
But how does that work? I mean, if you've got, for example, that example there, you've got contractors out digging the thing up, they discover a rock. I mean, it's the last people I would expect to think and say, oh, this needs to go
This
to...
looks like tufa. We should take it
Yeah.
to the Royal Botanic Garden.
Is there a system in place for...
I don't know, but I suppose you must just have engineers, but they recognise that this is valuable and unusual. Maybe they have to record all these things. I don't know. So I think it's successful then.
Or maybe they used to dig it from nearby and they're not allowed anymore, but they might have known there was something.
Yeah.
Might be the way.
They wouldn't
I don't know.
But I mean, even they find it.
Yeah. How do
You
they
know,
recognize
how
it?
do they recognise it? And how do they know what to
Question.
do with it?
Good question.
Well, I suppose they must be just some of them were really trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even so, it's still a big jump from a trained geologist to the Royal Botanical Garden in Edinburgh. We're down in the Midlands, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's done.
That is a great Google question.
Two big questions.
Let's see if ChatGPT knows that one.
Yeah, we've got pro level chat GPT. I'm going to go home and
You
ask
gotta
it.
go check that. You know what? Every tour I've been on this vacation, I'm writing stuff, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Build a list of things. I couldn't find the answer. I'm gonna go look it up. Gotta go find out.
I mean, is there a career there? And
I don't think anyone's gonna pay me. Yeah. But it's worth a look.
它这个在石头上的话，你都没有想过，石头它竟然会有这么严格的要求，能够有些东西可以长，有些东西是不可以长的。它这它实际上它就是有起开的，然后是长这个东西不愿意去这样。Wow, that's beautiful. That's very interesting. Yeah, it's like
again, it's grown that way. It's the biggest surface area,
yes.
but it's also it's quite small and compact, so it reduces the wind and the wild weather exposure, but it gives it the most exposure to sunlight.
can we assume by the bars that these plants are valuable?
Yes, they are valuable.
Oh,
We get kind of stolen. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah.
really? My
Oh,
God.
well, I just saw a sign that says CCTV because people, I guess.
And
它
some,
这个还有人偷的
Yeah,
they compare with them or they
I've
have
never
more.
been to these in front of you.
4
yeah.
times. Love it.
It's
See,
quite
have you
nice.
have never been?
No,
Oh, you would love it.
so you should ask him about it.
No, he just go around. He didn't go into it deep enough. We just some people just sightseeing, go around and around.
It's
It's endangered in the wild.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of plant species have been lost in the countries of origin because so much land is being cleared for forest for agriculture or for housing or whatever. And so a number of these organisms are now endangered in the wild. So they all have red signs on them. Diseases now, and it's partly all the wood, the forestry that's importing, and partly just so much. It's part of globalization, so things being transferred around the world. It's bringing in a lot more diseases for plants as well as
now that Mr. Trump's ending globalization. There's the problem solved.
He seems to not quite realise things aren't as simple as he thought.
Stop.
He basically said to me, "Oh, watch Ukraine. What Mr. Trump's doing? It's very intelligent. He knows what he's doing." And I replied,
Look at the moss.
That's really beautiful.
It's covered in moss. About biodiversity. So this particular Silvanella, and you see all these black trees. Yeah. And essentially, what I said up.
I wonder that when is the change brought in for the downtown core that you can't drive your car unless it's electric?
Oh,
Will
yeah.
that change how this works?
它就是你看这个颜色，就说明这个就是这个那啥就是空气啊。他说空气不好的时候，空气好的。If they're in the wild, do they think that the animal would eat them as a food?
The lichens.
Yeah.
They're reindeer.
Oh, from Canada, reindeer.
that film we saw at the film fest.
Oh yes, a kind of Indian slave. 竹子啊，说是干粉，说是也是干粉，
对啊，
就是那就是你说那个叫什么？山茶还是杜鹃？要本来现在你看不是，是忘记
杜
那个
鹃，这应该是杜鹃花。
嗯，你看这个颜色，在这个照片里面简直太漂亮了。
That's so beautiful, the colours.
Darling, just like your face and your coloured hat. Got to keep her happy.
Oh, that's that tree has fallen down. Do you think the tree is like a wheel? Is you know in China they have a say one wheel down, you know, that dead and so many people live.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's how to think about it.
And the tree is like a one
Yeah.
down and so
Because, you know, what happens is a tree dies or falls over, and that opens up the canopy, so more sunlight comes in, and young trees that have just germinated can then grow up.
oh
So it's part of the natural
Cycle.
evolution of-
yeah.
它那个就是那个岛的那个。啊，
So do you,
This is a level tree.
不是不是，
these are ancient trees used to live for thousands of years.
The one in Fife that's supposed to be 3,500 years old.
And
4,000。
Okay, 4,000.
Old, whatever, yeah.
the thing about you is not on the beach. I think it's one of my favorite trees. I always think it's actually deciduous, so in the winter it loses its leaves and it's got very cute shades.
Yes.
They try to.
They suck sometimes they suck the nectar onto the damaged flowers.
So do you have any?
是他们是那个哈，那个松鼠它们是不喜欢的，因为破坏植物。
We also, that's why I was looking for up in that Azalea site. We also have badgers.
Oh.
And there's a natural badger den up there, which you can see if you find the book. And the badgers.
Yes.
Il est net, hein? Quand quelqu'un qui est net, il est un peu Calm down.
Mané, il va pas les manger. Eh bien, je l'ai filmé.
Il est en train de faire le concours. Il n'aime pas les cacahuètes.
Go down. Yeah, to go along here. 你还要看 Do you want to still want to have a look or you want to?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So thank you so much. We're just going to stay for have a look.
Yes, absolutely. Loads to see. You could go around, you know, there's more there.
Yeah.
Did you come in through the East Gate as well?
No, we're going from the west
Okay.
gate.
So you,
Bye bye. That was very enjoyable.
It is. I learned quite a lot. Every time I just walk, didn't really know how
I
much.
found the Lynchons fascinating.
Huh?
Half plant, half animal. Or not able to classify as a plant or an animal.
Yes, I know. Strong good way.
Oh, we can look at the
Let's
Chinese
go this
hillside
way.
on the way.
Go this way.
Yeah.
Go to the. 我们先去吃点东西，然后。哎，我不想吃。你不想吃也就坐在那儿那啥休息一会儿，然后
Excuse the
呢
multilingual conversation.
？Yes，然后他可以坐车回去，然后我把你送回去，因为我们俩各开各的车嘛。啊。
Is that the Chinese hillside there?
Yes，that one see pagoda down there。是我都根本就不知道有石头这事情。对呀，对呀，走，咱走到下面吧。那有这些全是这些咱俩休息会儿。他一走，咱俩再到那啥市中心那块看那个哪，挨大那块能不能？Super light。Why you look too close, too close？ 它这你看它这个头它是可以不用动的，它这个，所以为啥它那个比较好？Be careful, be careful。它这就有点像。
We have no connection to that silly Chinese woman. Don't know her. Never met her before. We just met her at the gardens.
他这个人真是。
Don't know each other?
We know each other for so long.
No. Don't know her.
他这就像那录像机，是不是？
他现在这个大疆这个可有名了，
这个录像机呀。
大疆这个特别特别有名。
哦。
It's actually getting quite warm.
咱们先去。No, go to the upstairs to have something.
Okay.
That way, that way.
We're back to where we started, going for some food.
How do we get across?
If my wife can work out how to get there, that is. I'm just following with the camera.
I think we're supposed to go around.
Oh, darling, you're always telling me how good a sense of direction you have. So
Yes, I am.
I'm just following and cameraing. There you go, the entrance there.
你还说这个不是啊？